Last year, Google enjoyed a staggering 20% year-on-year growth of its smartphone market share in the US. Pixel phones have become considerably more popular over the last couple of years, but there's a massive underlying problem that Google is reportedly aware of. It's caused arguments and flame wars all over the internet, and yet Google seems to be getting away with it. This is how Google is cheating the system. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas and I am a big fan of Google's Pixel 9 series. It does so much at a really high level. The cameras, the displays, the designs, and it's clear that it's not just me who feels this way about the Pixel 9 series. Outside of the current Japan Pixel fiasco, these phones have become increasingly ubiquitous in many Western markets. They are a bigger deal now than they really ever have been, and I'm sure Google's marketing around its AI tools and features plays a big part in that. They're objectively good phones, but they also don't necessarily follow the status quo. By the way guys, really trying to hit 500,000 subscribers, so if you wouldn't mind hitting that button, it'd mean a lot to us. Thank you very much. So back when Google first made its switch from using Qualcomm Snapdragon chips to its own Tensor ones, things didn't exactly go to plan. There were heaps of issues with the Pixel 6 series, with one standout problem being its Tensor chipset. Many users reported overheating issues, cellular connection problems, and battery drain like you would not believe. And many were also quick to point out online. This wasn't forgivable on such an expensive product from a company as big as Google, but it was also kind of understandable. This was a very first gen product with the associated teething problems to go with. Also, conspiracy theory time. Is the reason the Pixel 5 went mid-range to lower expectations going into the Pixel 6? Did they know that it was going to be a downgrade? The Pixel 7 was a step up in almost all areas, including the Tensor G2, but that chip didn't exactly eradicate all the problems and the gremlins found in its predecessor. In fact, leaks secured by Android Authority late last year indicate that Google knew the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 7 series struggled with battery life woes, going beyond that and being at the top of conjoint studies. Not only that, but the leak has also revealed that the #1 reason for Pixel returns during this time was overheating. That's not a good look. That's massive because it shows the company is aware of these problems and is looking into ways to fix that and to rebuild the trust to drive more consumer loyalty. Tensor has always lagged behind Snapdragon, not only in the final product that you see, but this is likely caused by the delay in manufacturing process before we get to that stage. So the current Pixel 9 series Tensor G4 is running on the 4nm process, where Qualcomm chips are currently on 3nm. And generally the lower the better, but reports have suggested that not the Pixel 10 but the Pixel 11 could finally see the manufacturing process with the Google Tensor chips catch up to MediaTek and Qualcomm. Something that many reviewers, including myself, have leveled at Google with its otherwise excellent Pixel 9 series is that the SoC and the ancillaries to that are just not at the level that they probably should be for $1,000+ smartphones in the Pro and the Pro XL. Google has been using UFS 3.1 storage in every single generation of Pixel with the Tensor class chip. So no storage speed improvement from the Pixel 6a all the way to the 9 Pro XL, despite the years of difference and of course the big price jump as well. But its competition has seen improvements in that time, going all the way up to UFS 4.1 now. But despite all of the noise around Tensor processors overheating, battery life falling short of expectations, spotty cellular connectivity in certain models and regions, we have to go back to that graphic. Google Pixel smartphones are seeing a rise in popularity, and anecdotally I have witnessed many friends and family move from iPhones or Samsung or OnePlus even to Pixel. And most of those have become repeat Google customers as well, upgrading to the latest models because they do enjoy the software so much and generally don't really have any idea that there is a hardware flaw at all, let alone worry about it. Us enthusiasts in the online smartphone niche have been banging on about these problems for years now and have treated other companies similarly if they fail to meet those expectations, but the majority, the general public, don't seem even remotely fazed by these delays, issues and concerns. And in fairness, Tensor G4 is a significant step up from G1 and G2. As someone who has spent a lot of time with every generation of Tensor Pixel, the 9 series and the 9 Pro in particular, I have to say it's certainly more usable now than some angry commenters online would have you believe. And to those who aren't benchmarking raw performance, playing esports titles, or who simply need the best of the best, these are more than good enough, and it looks like Google has designed them that way. There's noise online stating Google isn't aiming for top-level benchmark scores. It isn't trying to cater to users who would care about that kind of stuff. It wants to build quality of life improvements or hardware accelerated features into its phones. We've already seen a glimpse of this with the Pixel 9 Pro, where a quarter of its memory is segmented strictly for on-device AI. And to those of us in the know, we know that the Pixel 9 Pro effectively only runs on 12 gigs of RAM, where many of its competition is running 16. But the target customer base for the Pixel, one, probably doesn't even know what RAM is, and two, wouldn't care anyway as long as they got to use the cool features that Google showed off in its marketing material. And to really illustrate how Google is leaning on its hardware, the company even downgraded the main camera sensor in the Pixel 9a this year from last year's 8A. Not only a drop in resolution, but a significant drop in sensor size too. And the results, although very hard to tell apart even when you have them side by side, are different. Google has seemingly employed a stronger software to sort of counteract this hardware deficit. No one's going to care, not the sort of people who are going to be buying that phone. And if the leaks are anything to go by, it looks like Google could be downgrading the main camera of the base model Pixel 10 compared to the Pixel 9, with a significantly smaller sensor, and possibly the same for the ultra-wide camera as well. Going from a 48 megapixel to a 13? Yikes. The upcoming Pixel 10 series, based on heaps of leaks, renders, specs and images that we hilariously already have, by the way, doesn't look to be a grand departure over last year, meaning there might not be a reason to upgrade from the 9 series at all. Yet despite this, Google Pixel smartphones are likely to continue being popular due to the user-facing, front-facing features like AdMe, call screening, free packages of Google One and Gemini for a couple of years, and Android 16 M3e is likely going to add even more interest to the series with funky customizable and personalizable features. Despite the worrying hardware plateau and even downgrades in some cases, Google continues to sell Pixels to people who are happy with their purchases and are return customers. With the additional software features, long-term support, unique marketing, it's clear that there's no stopping the Big G's increasing popularity across many markets. Google is cheating the system by continually failing to deliver hardware at a level that it probably should for the price it's wanting for its handsets, and yet continuing to impress the general public. That could change with the catch-up to Qualcomm, but I wonder how much it will really push other hardware downgrades before the public starts to notice. Guys, let me know what you think about not only Tensor performance, but what Google's seemingly different approach to its SoCs compared to Qualcomm and MediaTek are. Do you own a Pixel? Do you largely not care about any of this stuff? Are you very tempted to make the switch because you just can't deal with its pitfalls anymore? I've noticed major standby battery drain on my units, but outside of that, I don't mind having not the best performance. Though that main camera downgrade that we've already had and could potentially see with the Pixel 10 is actually quite worrying to me. That kind of sets a precedent. I don't like that whatsoever. I'd love to hear the AP community's thoughts, so let me know in the comments section. Whilst you're down there, be sure to hit like if you enjoyed today's content and subscribe to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I will catch you later. Cheers.